They lied to you. It was a polite lie, a well-intentioned lie, one whispered by your parents, taught by your teachers, and reinforced by the smiling teller at your local bank branch. The lie is simple. Play it safe. They told you to work hard, save your money, put it in a savings account, and sleep soundly knowing it is there. But here is the brutal reality that no one wants to admit at the dinner table. Playing it safe is actually the most dangerous game you can play. Safe is a slow, silent, invisible path to poverty. Today, on Lifelines, we are going to shatter the glass vault. We are going to look at the money in your pocket not as paper, but as potential energy. We are going to dismantle the great money illusion and hand you the blueprint to build an army that fights for your freedom while you sleep. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. Imagine you have a loaf of bread. You place this loaf inside a glass vault. It looks safe. You can see it. You can touch the glass. You feel secure because you know that tomorrow the loaf will still be there. But imagine that inside that loaf of bread, there are microscopic termites. Every single day, they eat a tiny crumb from the inside out. On the outside, the crust looks perfect. But inside, it is becoming hollow. This is exactly what happens when you leave your money sitting stagnant in a standard bank account. We call this termite inflation. Let's look at the math because numbers do not have feelings, and they certainly do not lie. If your savings account is generous, maybe it pays you 3% interest a year. You feel like you are winning. But if the rate of inflation, the cost of goods, services, gas, and milk, is rising at 5%, do you see the trap? You are not gaining 3%. You are losing 2% of your real purchasing power every single year. Think about a laptop. Today, it costs $1,000. You save that $1,000 in a bank. 5 years from now, your account says you have $1,050. You feel richer. But that same laptop? Due to inflation, it now costs $1,200. The number in your bank went up, but your ability to live your life went down. That is the magic trick. That is the illusion. So if saving is losing, what is the answer? We have to stop treating money like a trophy to be polished and start treating it like an employee to be managed. Right now, your cash is a lazy employee. It is sitting at a desk, feet up, taking a nap. It is doing nothing for you. The wealthy do not have lazy money. They wake that employee up. They put a uniform on it. They give it a helmet and a rifle, and they send it out into the world to capture other dollars. They turn their savings into an army. But before we deploy this army, we have to understand the battlefield. This is where most people get scared. They think investing is gambling. They imagine guys in suits screaming on a trading floor or lines on a graph crashing to zero. Let's replace that fear with basic physics. There is a rule called the 7% rule. Over the last century, the stock market, specifically the top 500 companies in America, has returned an average of 7 to 10% annually. Some years it is up 20%. Some years it is down 10%. But over the long timeline, the trajectory is up. Why? Because humans are productive. We invent things, we build things, we solve problems. Investing is simply betting on human ingenuity. Now, I want you to imagine a snowball sitting at the top of a very long, snowy hill. This is the concept of compound interest. Albert Einstein reportedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. If you push that snowball, your army of money, down the hill, at first it looks small. It picks up a little snow. It grows by inches. But as it rolls, the surface area gets bigger. It picks up more snow with every rotation. After 10 years, it is a boulder. After 30 years, it is an avalanche that nothing can stop. But you cannot build an avalanche if you are constantly digging yourself into a hole. This brings us to the system. We are going to break this down into 7 distinct steps. This is not just advice. This is an operational checklist for your life. Step 1. Foundational health. This might surprise you. Why are we talking about health in a money script? Because your body and your mind are the vehicle in which you travel through life. A sick person has only one wish: to get better. A healthy person has 1,000 wishes. You cannot build an empire if the emperor is dying. Before you worry about stocks, you dial in your sleep, your nutrition, and your mental clarity. This is the foundation that holds the weight of the wealth you're about to build. Step 2. The survival shield. Before you send your army out to war, you must defend the castle. This is your emergency fund. Life is chaotic. Cars break down. Jobs are lost. Pandemics happen. If you do not have cash on hand, you will be forced to sell your investments at the wrong time just to survive. You need 3 to 12 months of living expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account. Notice I said high yield. Do not leave it in a checking account paying 0%. Move it to a bank that pays you to keep it there. This money is not for growing. It is for sleeping at night. It is the shield that allows you to take risks elsewhere. Step 3. Kill the monsters. The monster is high-interest debt. I want you to look at this logically. If the stock market pays you an average of 10%, but your credit card is charging you 20%, you are bleeding to death twice as fast as you are healing. This is a mathematical impossibility. You must attack any debt with an interest rate above 7% with ruthless aggression. Stop eating out. Sell the old clothes. Drive the cheap car. Kill the monster. You cannot fill a bucket that has a hole in the bottom. Step 4. Invest in the SNE, that is S-N-E, the self. This is the highest return on investment you will ever find. Imagine a roofer. He uses a manual hammer. He bangs in nails all day, sweat pouring down his face. He can only do one roof a week. Now, imagine he spends money to buy a pneumatic nail gun. Suddenly, he can do 3 roofs a week with half the effort. That nail gun is a skill. If you spend $100 on a book, a course, or a workshop that teaches you how to negotiate a higher salary, or how to code, or how to sell, that $100 could yield you $10,000 a year for the rest of your life. That is not a 7% return. That is an infinite return. Step 5. Capture the free money. If you work for a company that offers a retirement plan, like a 401k, and they offer a match, you must contribute enough to get that match. Listen closely. If you put in $1 and they put in $1, you have just made a 100% return on your money instantly. There is no investment in the world that guarantees a 100% return with zero risk. If you do not take this, you are literally walking past a pile of gold on the sidewalk and choosing to leave it there. Step 6. Automated recruitment. Now we build the army, but we do not try to pick the best soldier. We recruit the whole battalion. This is the mistake most people make. They treat the stock market like a casino. They try to pick the next Apple or the next Bitcoin. Think of a box of chocolates. If you buy one single chocolate, you are taking a risk. It might be caramel, which is great, but it might be that weird orange cream that tastes like toothpaste. If you buy the whole box, you are guaranteed to get the good ones. In the stock market, this is called an index fund. Instead of buying one company, you buy a fund that owns the top 500 companies in America. If one company goes bankrupt, who cares? You have 499 others to carry the load. You are betting on the entire economy, not a single player. And how do you buy? You use a tactic called dollar cost averaging. You set it up to happen automatically. Every single month, a portion of your paycheck vanishes from your account and buys more of the index fund. It doesn't matter if the market is high. It doesn't matter if the market is low. You are a robot. You are buying shares. You are recruiting soldiers. Over 10, 20, 30 years, this relentless consistency beats the genius day trader almost every single time. Step 7. The buy, borrow, die strategy. This is the advanced level. This is how the ultra-wealthy operate. The poor sell their time for money. The middle class sell their investments for money. The rich, they never sell. When you have a massive army of assets, you do not kill the soldiers to eat them. You use them as collateral. You go to a bank and say, "Look at my army. Lend me money against it." The bank gives you a loan at a low interest rate. You live on that loan. Since it is a loan, it is not taxable income. You pay no taxes on it. And your army? It stays in the market, continuing to grow, continuing to compound, often growing faster than the interest on the loan you took out. This is how dynasties are built. Now, let's shift gears. We have covered the tactics, but tactics are useless without the right operating system in your brain. We need to move you from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. Scarcity is hoarding. Scarcity looks at money like a pie. If I give you a slice, I have less. This creates fear. It makes you a slave to your savings account. You become the dragon sleeping on the gold, never enjoying the flight. Abundance looks at money like a candle. If I use my candle to light yours, my light does not diminish. In fact, the room gets brighter. Money is current. That is why we call it currency. It must flow. It must move. When you view money as liquid energy, you stop being afraid of spending it on things that bring value. You stop trying to time the market out of fear of a crash. Instead, you focus on time in the market, having faith that as long as human beings are waking up and creating value, your army will grow. You stop working for money, and you force money to work for you. This shift changes everything. It changes how you walk into a room. It changes how you negotiate. It changes how you sleep. Because when you know you have an army working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never getting sick, never complaining, and constantly recruiting more soldiers, you finally achieve the one thing that money is actually good for: freedom. Freedom to say no. Freedom to say yes. Freedom to draw your own map. So, here is the mission for this week. It is a simple audit. Look at your life. Where are the termites? Where is the lazy money sleeping on the job? Open the accounts. Do the math. Check the interest rates. Stop letting the illusion of safety rob you of your future. The bank is not your friend. It is a business. And right now, you are their best customer because you are giving them your capital for free. Take it back. Wake up the soldiers. Put on the uniform. Start the snowball. Because the view from the bottom of the hill is crowded and expensive. But the view from the top? It is worth every step of the climb. The pen is in your hand. Draw your own path. Now, building this financial army is powerful, but an army without discipline is just a mob. You can have all the money in the world, but if your days are chaos, your mind will be chaos. In the next episode of Lifelines, we are going to talk about the invisible architecture of your day. We are going to dive into routine. We will explore how to automate your behavior just like we automated your money, turning willpower into muscle memory. Make sure you are subscribed. You do not want to miss it.